turns out Charlotte blocked the miasma beam with the rock, but Alan knows that the miasma beam is too strong, and the rock cannot hold it back for much longer. Plus, Charlotte still doesn't know how to properly control her power, and at this rate both of them will melt together by this miasma beam. All of a sudden, someone rushes toward Charlotte and Alan. It turns out to be Grill, and he starts backing up Charlotte. Grill has no swordsmanship skills, but he cannot leave his daughter to face this monster alone. Charlotte is a bit confused and moved by his words. They are blocking the miasma beam together, but the rock is about to break into pieces. Alan starts preparing one of his skills. Then he buffs both Charlotte and Grill with his holy power. Alan cannot handle his holy power properly for now, but he wants to find out if this wall can also be strengthened with divine energy. Alan prays to the goddess Gaia to give them strength to protect themselves from this monstrous fiend. A holy protective sigil appears on the rock, and it easily negates the miasma beam. The holy sigil then launches a counterattack on the vampire count. Vampire count gets hit by the holy beam, which results in a huge explosion. The aftermath of the explosion looks quite grim as it destroyed a lot of buildings around them. After the smoke subsides, Charlotte tries to find Alan. After some time, she finds Grill lying on the floor. She panics and tries to go to help him out, but Alan stops her. He informs her that Grill is just passed out, and she should not panic. Charlotte asks Alan about his condition, and he informs her that he is exhausted, and it feels like he can die at any moment. On the other hand, the vampire count is crying out loud as the holy flames are burning his body. Alan knows that it is a good opportunity to run away as he ran out of holy power, and the vampire count cannot chase them for now. Charlotte carries Grill on her back, and both of them start heading toward the underground chambers. On their way, Alan is thinking that the vampire count is weak right now, but still he can kill around 50 or more soldiers. All of a sudden, he sees the skull of the Necromancer King, Aemon. There is a lot of dark mana gathering around the skull of the Necromancer King. Alan tells Charlotte to wait because there is something here he needs to check first. Alan remembers that it is the same skull the vampire count used to wear around his neck. Alan picks up the skull to check its stats. System Window informs him that it is the skull of the Necromancer King, Aemon. It amplifies the user's magic power by 20 to 200% based on each standard, and it increases recovery level by 10%. It increases the effects of all magic-based skills by 10% as well. After some time, the vampire count gets up and his eye is still burning from the holy power and he needs to recover first. He tries his best, but he cannot find the skull of the Necromancer King. He looks into the distance to find out that Alan is carrying the skull. Without thinking much, he leaps toward Alan to snatch the skull from him. Alan quickly equips the mask of the Necromancer King, and he strengthens the skull using his remaining holy power. Alan informs Vampire Count that he is now in command of the Undead Legion, and he is the inheritor of the goddess Gaia Legacy. All of a sudden, some chains imbued with holy power move toward the Vampire Count. The chains quickly envelop the Vampire Count, rendering him motionless, and two holy knights seem to be in possession of these chains. Vampire Count can clearly feel the lingering scent of death from these holy knights. It turns out Alan summoned all of the dead soldiers and knights into his legion. The Holy Legion asks their Lord Alan for his command. Vampire Count still cannot believe what he just witnessed. It turns out that Alan just broke one of the rules. First, a undead cannot have holy power and they cannot have an ego either, but these skeleton soldiers seems to have their consciousness. The Vampire Count is still doing his usual rabble, and Alan stops him by pointing his gun toward his head. Alan then imbues his holy power into the gun. He then shoots the Vampire Count with the name of the priest and holy power, while he wishes the Vampire Count a happy Christmas. The gunshot had a lot of holy power imbued in it, and it ends up in a huge bang.